Easily the hardest day of my life. I've never affected anybody in a negative way intentionally. I've given my grown son two cars, thousands of dollars, and freedom and rent-free living in my retirement home, where I was assaulted 7 times criminally by him. The first time I had him arrested. The next day I called the county attorney and the public defender and told them as a father I could not bear thinking my son being in jail to release him. Therefore he came home and gave me 6 more assaults in the next 2 years. My wife stood idly by and explained to the family and grandchildren that live with us that it's my fault it happened. But at no time did my son ever fear for his safety, his life, or well-being due to any verbal comment or physical movement that I made. They also lied and conspired on a police report December 5th, January 15th to have me Baker acted and moved from my home. At that time, my wife decided to start divorce proceedings. And to keep her happy, I went along with it. But I was also under severe mental duress, being Baker acted in a mental hospital for 15 days and then in jail for 15 days for another assault that happened at the mental facility that the patient lied that I touched him first. He was a very violent person. He had 2 witnesses, 2 mentally ill 15-year-old people that said they saw it that weren't even in the room. And I spent 15 days. I was then never to return to my retirement home that I worked 40 years with my wife raising this awesome family to achieve. The divorce happened so quick, it was easy to understand now that they conspired and planned for this to happen. And then while I was in jail, on the video with the judge, my son was in the courtroom saying, I've got more evidence to hold him more. I then became homeless, sleeping in my car for 3 days, 3 months. And a lot of you all know or suspect or think of what I've been doing the last 3 to 4 weeks. But I realized last week why I've been on heavy medication. Last week on Monday, I cried my eyes out all day driving in this car. On Tuesday, I got very severely mad, realizing that my son has been planning for that day to happen, to have me removed from my very own retirement home. And then the next day, I realized what needed to be done. The inmates in jail, when I explained to them, I love my family. I can't process this against them. I can't go against them. They said, hey, idiot, they're the reason you're in jail. They don't like you. I wouldn't let it sink in. I refused to believe it as I became homeless. But last week, through all this medication I've been on, it allowed me to think that yes, my family has abandoned me. My grandchildren have been brainwashed that all 7 criminal assaults that I suffered by my son and witnessed by my wife were the fact they don't like me. They don't want me. My wife said I needed to live up to my responsibility and someday I might get the family back. But I realized it's never going to happen. I'm on my way to the police station to file 2 charges of assault against my son, which also are elder abuse at my age, and carry 15-year prison sentence. I'm just going to report them as assaults. If the state wants to pick it up, they can go further. I don't have any choice. I gave my wife an ultimatum Wednesday to negotiate my returning to my retirement home, and I won't process our grown son who's mentally ill and serving under mental illness doctors with the VA, which I've called and told them I'm being assaulted. Please get him a better doctor. I called his work and told them they have a violent young man at their hospital serving patients and to keep an eye on him. While my wife claims I've abused my son and started all these fights, I've actually reached out and tried to help him, dropping those charges, calling his VA doctors. I'm the one that's actually tried to help this young man. He blames his mental illness on my documented mental illness, but he won't talk to me or let me help him as I understand my mental illness. So this is the hardest day of my life. I've used a lot of medication. I've never hurt people. I take beatings. My 5 stepfathers beat me. I know how to take a beating and keep my mouth shut. But if you touch my kids, I came after you. I never took up for Jay. I take my beating and go on. They saw my sensitivity as a sign of weakness and they pounced on me. I'm sorry, but this has to be done. I've been abandoned by my family that I worked so many jobs trying to raise and help. I've been stabbed in the back through a false police report. I know what you all think, but heavy medical use of alcohol or whatever is signs of medicating a problem. It took me 4 weeks of medication to finally understand how bad it is that I am being stabbed in the back by my very family that I supported. I gave this man thousands of dollars to help his marriage. I gave him a brand new 2015 GMC Sierra truck. I drove it down to Florida on Christmas and I flew back. I gave him a truck. They needed a vehicle. I gave him my car when he lived with us rent free just last year because his got repossessed. He was fired from the fire department from character issues last year. He was divorced 2 years ago. I tried to be as nice as I can, but I realized my family doesn't like me, and they stabbed me in the back. And this is the hardest thing a dad will ever have to do, and I apologize. But they stabbed me in the back first, and I've been suffering for 8 months. And I'm going to let you all go, but I want this documented that you're right. I have been under heavy, heavy medication to get to this point. I've never done this. I hate doing this. I'm a happy, fun, humorous guy. I don't like people in trouble. I help homeless people. You all see me give them money and help, and this is not like me. This is not of my nature. I love you all. Bye.